Hey YouTube, this is Southern Prepper One. I want to talk about a subject of the next Great Depression. I want to do a mind exercise with you. I'm not trying to discourage you or to show you that you have so much work to do or that it's, could be overwhelming to think about. No one's ever going to be truly ready for the next Great Depression. Is it a chance that it could come? Yes, it definitely is. So this is a mind exercise. Only you can really put yourself in this situation. Only you can evaluate yourself with your life experiences, where you're located, what you think is going to happen. But the more you think about a problem and try to come up with a solution, the better it's going to be. And it's giving you the opportunity to look in the comments. The comments on this video is going to be very important. So if you have anything to add, please. I'll be looking at every single one just so I can say, hey, did I get that? Did I remember that? Because there's going to be ideas in that comment section that I haven't thought about yet. And I want to think about it. I want to think about it when you have a full Walmart, you have a full Home Depot, Lowe's, you got Amazon, you got everywhere locally I could pick up something to make my life easier. And to also, I want to be able to assist others. Definitely my family, that's a requirement. I'm the husband of my wife, and I also have grandchildren and children. So yes, I have a responsibility to do my best to provide for my family and extended family. So comments on this video is going to be utmost to look at them, to read them, to put your input in. Don't say, oh, it might not really matter. It might. If you're thinking it now, it needs to be in that comment section so we can see it and others can see it and prepare for it. All right, this is the mind exercise. This is the scenario 5 years into a Great Depression. I don't want you to get bent up and caught up around the axle about, okay, 5 years in, we're gonna have Mad Max. That's not part of this scenario. So don't think, it doesn't matter, everything's going to be free for all. No, let's not do that. Let's put it in the sense of, yes, heightened crime, people stealing, yes, but not total Mad Max, where you can't leave your house, you can't do anything, but you have to be, aware if you do leave your house. And just start off with that one. There is places in third world countries where people don't leave their homes, because if they do, their neighbors would steal their stuff. So you might have to have an adult always home, or you might have to have a trusted neighbor that can keep an eye on your property while you do venture out and do your regular life, because life hasn't stopped. We're in a severe economic depression, similar to the 30s, but worse, because it will be worse because of our bad planning. Back then the dollar had value. Today, the next Great Depression, the dollar might not be. And we might not even call it. We might enter a Great Depression, and it could go from depression to Mad Max. I understand that, but for this mind exercise, no Mad Max, just economic catastrophe. It might be where crime is so bad, people in your neighborhood are going to handle the problem. They know someone's stealing from them. They might not call law enforcement, or law enforcement might not be able to handle it. They'll handle, this most severe incidents, because your corn was stolen, or your apple tree was stripped bare of apples, or someone stole your garden hose or your generator. They might just say, hey, you got to handle it yourself, man. We don't have the ability or the manpower to take care of that. So law enforcement services might be reduced heavily. Along with that, firefighting protection. You might not have the response necessary. Or the fire stations in your area might say, hey, we got one guy on duty. We can't, that's all we can afford. If you're already a volunteer station near your area, it might be harder. It does cost the volunteers money to get there. They got to drive, they got to leave work. So your services for emergency protection, that ambulance that you rely on now, it might take 2 or 3 or 4 times as long to get there, because they might have less ambulances on the road. They might have less paramedics and EMTs to respond to you. So put that in the back of your head. Services might be reduced. I think one service that will be used a lot is the library. I think people will be looking for information. People might not be able to afford the internet. Who says you could afford electricity in the next Great Depression? You just might not be able to afford it. So yes, hopefully you'll be able to get on somewhere with a Wi-Fi and get information. But I think the library, they check out DVDs. I think that's going to be important. It might get so bad though, the library says, like, we can't lend any books out because we don't get them back in return. So you might just have to go to the library, read what you're going to read. So that would be fine if you live in a city or an area close to a library. For me, it's too far. What is it, about 20-minute drive to get to a library, even a small one. What about cable? Entertainment might be the TV set, because people might not be able to afford cable. Cable will be canceled, but you'll still have, you know, the local channels, and you'll still have DVDs. So maybe trading DVDs, and that's assuming you have some power. But people like to watch videos and movies, so that might be the highlight of your day. Friday night, we're going to have a movie. So I think that one moves into local events. It might be, you know, you have a local meeting, like out in the country they have festivals. The local festivals in the old days, the square dances, the other meetings were very big socially. People look forward to those events to get together. That might happen coming up. Those events might be key to your sanity and to get out and see people. I don't think people will be taking those long vacations. You won't have money. As soon as you think of that, if people are not taking vacations, think of all the areas that are high areas of tourism. You know, like the beach or the mountains or theme parks. All those places are going to probably shut down or just drastically cut. So all those people are going to be, you know, not working. It's a vicious circle. As soon as this thing starts rolling, it gets worse. So imagine all the people that work in daycare. If mom or dad gets laid off, one of them has to stay home, they're not going to have the money to pay for daycare, so the children are going to stay home. That will make more daycare people get laid off. It's just a vicious circle. Let's think about pests. Right now, you know, you can control fleas on your pets by getting medication, all kinds of medication. Without it, your pet is going to get fleas. It's just guaranteed if you don't use a flea medication, or if you're not into the herbal or the natural remedies, you're going to get fleas. That's going to be really hard. How about lice? Nowadays, it's not that big of a problem. Occasionally, some schools around here have a lice problem, but medicine and proper shampoos can just clear that right up. If you don't have proper medication and you do not know the herbal ways of doing it, a lice infestation will drive you crazy. Just all the nasty bugs. A lot of apartment buildings have their apartments sprayed regularly because they know some of their residents are not the cleanest people, and you can't have roaches and all kinds of spiders and junk move in. People are going to be cutting back on the pest control. Also think of, in the cities, rats and mice are going to flourish because it won't be the garbage pickup probably as regular as we have now, because it'll be just cost of the garbage man coming around, cost of the fuel for the truck. So it is going to create a huge problem. I think one thing we need to work on is making sure we have enough over-the-counter medicine. It's nice, you know, to take some naproxen for your shoulder. You've been working all day. I think we're going to need more of that stuff. As more and more people realize they have to go out in the yard and they have to till the garden. They'll have to do things manually. A lot of times, a lot of people hire people to cut their grass. Now, I'm not going to say everyone needs to be cutting their grass, because in a Great Depression, you probably won't have the fuel. Or you might want that grass to grow up tall so you can harvest it for your rabbits, or save it for in the wintertime for your chicken coop. So that is going to be a huge... I think shoes are the biggest thing. Shoes. I buy these junky shoes because they fit my feet good, and the arch is fine, but they don't last. I get 3-4 months out of them, and boom. And the funny thing is, those used to be like $49. Now they're like $89 to $99. They have gone sky high for the same shoe. I do have leather work boots. I also have lots of Army boots. I've saved pretty much all of them in the military, so I have a ton of them, from the older black ones all the way up. So those are my go-to. I'll be wearing them. Do I want to wear, you know, a set of Army boots every time I go outside to do something? No. You know, sometimes you just want to slip something on and go check something and come back home. But for me, it might eventually turn into the military boots I was issued, and they're great. And they're going to last, because they have lasted me. They're proven success. But how about kids? Kids are growing, so you might have a 4-year-old right now. Imagine them 5 years into a Great Depression. Children's shoes, I think, are going to be a rarity. So you got to think about this, and that's what this video is to get you thinking of what you're going to need so you can better prepare. A lot of the available foods that we take, you know, grapefruits, stuff that comes from Mexico, stuff that comes from Central America, all kinds of crazy fruits that we don't grow around here. Those are going to cease to exist. I think, let's go up north, let's say Pennsylvania. I think an orange is going to be a treat after about a year into a Great Depression. I don't think there's going to be a lot of oranges being shipped from Florida. You know, maybe they will, but maybe you won't be able to afford them. So I think it's going to be more local foods. What will grow and what can people grow in their area? I think it's going to be very, very important. I think two things that you should stock lots of. The first one priority be rice. I don't grow rice. I don't even know how to grow rice. I've seen a show on how they grow it. I couldn't grow rice here. So for me, it's good to have a couple extra 100 pounds of rice because I think it's going to be needed for my family. It's also a great charity thing. Wheat is another thing. I have grown wheat. It's a pain, but I could do wheat better than rice. So I've stored tons of rice and tons of wheat for that purpose, because it takes a lot of effort to grow those, and rice I couldn't grow. Probably if I tried I might, but I have enough other things to grow that I know I can do better. Gets right into seeds. I think seeds are going to be a hot commodity. 5 years in, all your hybrid seeds are probably going to be used up. People are going to use them up. There might be a few packs here and there, so it's going to be heirloom seeds, seeds that you put in the ground, you plant, you can harvest the food, then save the seeds for next year. The problem is cross-pollinating with, you might plant heirlooms, your neighbor right across the street plants a bunch of hybrid, or you plant heirlooms, they plant hybrid, and they cross-pollinate and don't come out good for you the next year. That's a possibility. So, you know, having seeds are going to be important. I think they're going to be a hot commodity. And the 5th year in, you know that seed you're going to plant is probably good for that area because it's been reproduced and reproduced again and again. Canning lids. You know, you can have a couple 100 jars, but that canning lids are going to go out quickly. So canning lids, I think, are a hot commodity. I love the reusable canning lids. Just something you can reuse numerous times. Candles. Some people might lose their power, literally lose their power, and not have power just because they can't afford it. Different fishing gear. I think, you know, today we fish for sport. A few people I know fish for food, but they don't need to. They have great jobs and plenty of money. It's just a side benefit of them love for fishing is to be able to have a good fish dinner. Biggest thing I think is paint. Just think of that. You know, right now your house might need painting. So you decide, I won't paint it this year, I'll wait next year. The depression hits, you don't have money, paint becomes so expensive or not available. We're 4 years into a Great Depression. Yeah, your house might look a little bit shoddy, but guess what? The paint is there for a purpose also to protect the wood. So without the paint, your wood could start deteriorating. So there's a lot of things and all kinds of repair parts for your house. You know, from an outdoor spigot might break and it starts leaking, you got to repair it. There's a lot of things to think about. Going back to the vehicle, let's get to the vehicle. I mean, belts, tires, fluids, wiper blades, so much to think about. I think the purpose is not to get you like, oh, this is overwhelming, I'm going to give up. You do what the best to your ability. So I don't want to discourage you. I want you to be encouraged and say, you know what, at least I know what I need. I can start working towards that. And that way, if we do start it to go into the Great Depression, I can speed things up. I say, okay, I'm going to take this little bit of cash I have and buy things I'm going to need. I think a big thing is socks and underwear. They definitely wear out. Today, I was putting on not a brand new set of socks, but very, very new pair of socks. I don't know if I had a small hole in the heel, but I went to put them on, I pulled them up, rip, big hole. My wife repairs any tiny hole. I should do a video. I will do a video. I'll make her do a video for you and show you how she darns socks. This hole was too big. After I pulled it up, it ripped. I showed it to her. I said, can you save this? And she said no, because it would take her forever to. But tiny holes in socks, she repairs, mends it fine. I will show you that in a future video for sure, because it's a great skill. And it has extended some of my socks an extra couple of years, definitely. So, I'm trying to encourage you to start thinking. This is a mental exercise. You are 5 years in to a Great Depression. What should I have already bought before it started, or tried to get as soon as it we're going into a Great Depression? A lot of variables. Trying to encourage you and not make you overwhelmed. Don't get overwhelmed. Thanks for watching.